Good evening, everyone. Hope all of you all are safe wherever you all are. Well, before we begin, we are all set to begin. But just before we begin, some rules of the house is that we would love that all of you all mute your mics and mute your phones as well. Yeah, to have a good experience of our speaker this evening, Abhijit Roy. And I hope all of you all are set. Uh, let's begin now. Introducing myself today, I shall be the moderator of this particular session. I am Dr. Sagarika Roy Bhatia, an educator for last 23 years with international education. I head a school at Mohali, Chandigarh. Apart from heading a school, I am also an edu coach and a mentor to students, parents, and I'm very active on social network. So you will also be viewing all these videos on our social handles also. So this is about me. And with this, I would also like to introduce our speaker for the day. Our speaker for the day is a very unusual parent. Normally, you don't find parents like this. Let me tell you, audience. Very unusual parent. And he is Abhijit Roy. Abhijit has 15 years of experience in the field of media and entertainment. He has national and international experience in visual effects for local and Hollywood movies and motion capture animation. Also, an experience for AAA computer games. His work has taken him all over the world, from places like Vancouver in the far west, Bangkok in the far east, and Dubai in the Middle East. Since birth of his first child, both the parents have left their life of endless work and have focused solely on the upbringing of their children and created a shared learning space for homeschooling wherever they went. And this homeschooling, they created for themselves. Let me inform you, audience, it's also for the people around them, for other families too. And as of now, Abhijit Roy has 2 children, aged 10 and 3. And surprisingly, in today's day, the 20th century, these are children who have never been to school, never ever been to school. And here we have with us Abhijit Roy today, this evening, to address all of you. And I'm sure the address is going to be very, very exciting for me too, being the principal and head of a school. So let's look forward to this. And this is over to you, Abhijit Roy.
Am I live? Can I start?
Yeah, you could start. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Abhijit Roy. I'm a father of 2, and for the last 10 years, we have been homeschooling our children. And I'm doing this presentation in association with the association Future School Learners to share our experience of upbringing our children in an academic free activity based environment. And I would just we have a strict constraint on time. I have half an hour to share what I want to share, that is 10 years of life. So I will right away get into the presentation that I want to share. So if I can start presenting, I can start my presentation. Okay, here we go. So I've started sharing my presentation. I hope everybody can see. First of all,
yes, it's seen.
You can see that. I would like to welcome everybody. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be presenting to educators from all over the planet. And I would just like to start by saying that my presentation is going to be about a combination of unschooling and parenting, because it is a journey that is done together. You first become a parent, and then as you are bringing your children up, you realize that unschooling is the right way for you. So this is, I'm talking about you, that is me. My name is Abhijit Roy, and I will start by introducing my family. We are a homeschooling family of four. My name is Abhijit, my wife's name is Snehal, and we have Arohi, who is 10 now, and Jay, who is 3. I would like to start by presenting a quote which I heard in an interview, and I don't remember who the interviewer was, but this is what the quote said. There are two types of people in the world: those who were loved as children and those who were not loved as children. And basically what the quote means, basically what I derived from the quote was that children who got love, affection, and attention from their parents grew up to be different kind of people, and children who did not get that grew up to be a different set of people. And it may or may not be right. Please don't take anything that I say as a rule. It is just based on what we have experienced as ourselves. So between me and my wife, we really got impressed by an ad that we saw. This was done by an Australian ad agency to show that children usually mimic everything that they see in their environment. Okay, this is, I guess, universally true. And this ad basically shared a very, very graphic, very, very present condition in which the children are growing around the world. Okay, so if a children is growing with violent parents, it comes in their personality. If they are growing with loving parents, it comes in their personality. So what I'm going to do is, this is a video on YouTube, and as I'm presenting the presentation, whenever I come across such videos which I would like you to view in your own good time, I will go ahead and share the link that I have for the same video. So this is the first link. I'm sharing it in the chat window, so anybody who's interested can take those down for later viewing, of course. And this basically, the idea behind sharing this video is that you can basically tell everything about a parent based on the behavior of the children. Okay, so this is something that we have really seen a lot over a period of time. And this also made us reflect on, what kind of children we were, what kind of children me and my wife, what kind of childhood me and my wife had. So in my case, my dad was in the army, so we had a very strict upbringing. In Snehal's case, she basically grew up with her grandparents. So again, these, which was a very, very loving environment, but she also spent a lot of her childhood in a hostel. So that also had a lot of effect on her, at the point of time when we actually became parents ourselves. So the most important thing that we came across was that this is again a quote, that the first 3 years of a child's life, he or she bonds with the parents. Okay, and Snehal and I, when we decided to have a baby, our first one, we actually, once Snehal became pregnant, and we actually went through a phase of separation where Snehal was with her parents, and I was working in Mumbai at that time. And I really went through a very anxious period where I felt very lonely, and I was doing a lot of research on parenting, and I came across this quote, and it really made me think that usually what happens is, once the child is born, the child bonds with the mother, and the father is basically a paying guest. So the child doesn't really bond with the parent. And this is true for me also. When I was a child, my father is in the army, so he was always in the pursuit of his country and countrymen, and we never really got to know him. So I didn't want to be that kind of a parent. I wanted to be the parent who would be present and bond with the children. So the moment Snehal got pregnant, I went ahead with an offer to her that, what, I also want to be a part of upbringing our children. and I don't want to work. I want to be at home, just like the mother would be for first few years of the child. And this really, more than creating a situation, it created a problem that how are we going to live? We are about to have a new child, and how are we going to sustain without income, without a job? So what we did was, first of all, we made a few changes in our lives. uh, Again, the fact that the mother and child always bond and the father is left out. Okay, so I basically said, I don't want to do that, I'm going to quit my job. And my wife is like, okay, you have created a situation for us, what is the solution? So the solution was to bring down our lifestyle. We were working in the field of media and entertainment, and we had a very, very high flung lifestyle. We used to hang around with film stars, we used to have late night parties, we used to go to movies with actors whose movies we used to work on. And we barely, we had 20-day work 20-hour work days. Sometimes we would work for three days at a stretch. And that kind of lifestyle you really cannot continue if you have a child in your home. So we quit our jobs, we collected all our savings, and we realized, we checked how long can we sustain without any income. And we quickly realized that in a place like Mumbai, you can't. Okay, probably a month. So basically what we did is we moved back to Pune, where our origins are. My parents retired in Pune, and Snail's parents stay in a nearby city. So we moved back to Pune, we checked our expenses, we stopped using the car, we stopped all our social life, and we basically defocused everything and put our entire focus on the child. And this was basically inspired from the natural way of how animals have children. If I give you an example of a bird, the birds, they are free roaming creatures. They don't, they live their life jumping from a branch to another branch. And we were living like that. And the moment we decided to have a child, we changed all that. What a bird does, it stops doing everything else, it builds a nest, it brings the children into this world, and it doesn't do anything else till the time the children leave the nest. And then again it goes back to its life of jumping from one branch to another. So we basically took inspiration from that, and we decided that we are going to stop everything else and spend our entire time with the child. And with the money that we had, we realized that we could probably, with a very, very reduced lifestyle, we could probably go on to do that for 1 year at the most. Okay, so we moved back to Pune, and the moment you become a parent, a lot of expectations are set on you. It's not just that you have a child, oh great, you became a parent, but with with having a child in the house, there are tons of responsibilities that come on you. On top of that, people around you, your peers, your friends, even your neighbors, they get so much expectations from you that you have to fulfill to be a good parent, quote unquote. And this is where we challenge the idea of what is the idea of being a good or a bad parent really legitimate. Already you have so many things on your shoulders. On top of that, do you really have to worry about whether you're being a good parent or a bad parent? And we really questioned it. But then over the period of the next 1 year, I can assure you that we literally did everything wrong. Because being first time parents, it was a very tough time for us, and we really didn't know what we were doing. And so again, when we, after some time, when we looked back, did we really want to quantify ourselves as good parents or bad parents? And I'll share a few examples with you. Like, we really believe that the influence of grandparents on children is very, very important. Both of us, since my dad was in the army, we used to move around a lot, and I never got to spend any time with my grandparents. On the other hand, my wife got to spend all her childhood with the grandparents. So we both had a very, strong idea about having a huge influence of her parents and my parents on the children. But our parents used to either live in a different city or a different part of the town, and it was not possible for our children to spend, for our child at that time, our daughter Arohi, to spend time with them. So does this make us a bad parent? This is the question that I put out there. Then again, once Arohi was born, we moved from conventional food. We stopped eating all the junk food, pizzas, burgers, Subways, whatever we used to eat, and we moved to authentic organic diet. We connected with the source, with the farmers who would do organic farming, and directly got our food from them. And we moved our lifestyle to a healthier lifestyle. So does this make us a good parent? Then again, the decision over a period of time, as ROE was growing, we eventually decided to not send her to school. Okay. So this is against everything that everybody was doing, and we were frowned upon a lot, and we were called hypocrites. We were called, we are not caring about the future of the child, and these decisions were very, very personal, based on our experience with the child. So does this make us a bad parent? And then again, there was a point of time where, under peer pressure, we forced Arohi at the time around she was 2 years old. We forced her off breastfeeding, which she didn't naturally leave, and we believed that she should naturally leave it. But under peer pressure, we forced her, and she had the worst time of her life. But we did it because we didn't know better. We came under peer pressure. We were told that she will not leave it, she'll find it difficult to leave later, blah blah blah, so many things, and we forced her. So does this make us a bad parent? Then again, the fact that she was always learning everything by some or the other activity rather than learning it out of a book. So her motor skills, her cognitive development, her sensory development, everything was beyond anything that we ever expected. So did this decision make us a good parent? So all these questions are there. But then again, the idea is that, does it really matter? The most important thing is that a parent is spending 24/7 with the child. We always ask this question to people who come to us, and why did you do this? And I always ask them, what do you think a child wants from a parent? And the question is not, it's not a rhetorical question. Usually the answers are, oh, they want love, they want affection. No, love, affection, they take it for granted. They get it by default. What they want from a parent is their attention. And in our case, we took the decision, very, very voluntary decision, to give all our attention to her. And over a period of time, I can assure you that it really paid off. Again, like I said, she did everything by activity, and everything she learned was through some or the other activity. Anything she showed interest in, we facilitated, and that activity became a part of her learning. So does this make us a good or a bad parent? Okay, coming back to the idea of education, as she was growing older, obviously we were getting questioned by a lot of people that whether we are doing the right thing when it comes to, okay, you have not, you are raising, you quit your job, you're not working, you are surviving on your savings and whatnot. But the idea of not sending a school really, really stuck with people, and we used to get questioned a lot. So I did a little bit of research, and I will be honest with you, I'm not sure if this research is right or wrong, but this is what I came up with. That earlier, children used to always learn the skill that the parents had, and that evolved into a space where children wanted to learn something other than what the parents were teaching, and they would go to a gurukul, or a place where there was a guru who would teach them a skill that the parents could not teach. So this was the whole idea behind the gurukul. And somewhere around 1500 BC, the systematic education came into being, where things were documented better and people started learning stuff out of books. So academics became a big part of the learning, the education of the child. And eventually it reached what we know as the modern education system, which from what I understand was developed as a result of the requirement of the industrial needs, where they needed skilled staff. And this is a reflection of the education system, where everybody was judged based on their ability to do one skill, irrespective of whatever their talent was. So these are the things that, we really, when we came across, we are like, no, we don't want to put a child in that environment. And there is this very light-hearted video about, by a couple of homeschooling kids who dispel a few myths about homeschooling. And I'm just going to go ahead and share this link with you for later viewing. The next thing is that this is the thing that we experienced, which allowed us to take the decision to finally not send her to school, is that we actually visited a preschool under peer pressure again. And when we went there, we were very impressed by it. And, children were playing and having a good time and whatnot. And then eventually when we met the staff and they told us about this thing, that children stay here all day. And we're like, no, we only want to keep a child here for maybe an hour or two. And they're shocked. They're like, no, whether you pay, keep them 1 hour or whole day, the amount is same. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. We don't want to do that. The staff came back saying that people leave their children here all day. And they were shocked that we only wanted to leave a child for a couple of, maybe 1 hour or so. And they were like, no, you do what you feel is right. And this is, if you feel that you want to do that, this is not the right thing for you. And that is where, it finally, we took the decision, we are not going to send our children to school. And then this is where the other decision came, the inspiration that the parents themselves are responsible for upbringing the child, and they should not, and we will not outsource our children to others. Also, there are a few Sir Ken Robinson videos which we were highly influenced by. The first one was Do Schools Kill Creativity? And I'll share the link with you. In fact, I'll share all 3 links together. This video talks about how creativity is stifled by the education system today. This video talks about how the learning revolution can be brought in the current education system. And this video talks about the 3 things that are putting education system in the death valley, which they are not caring about, is the diversity of the kids, the curiosity of the kids, and the creativity of the kids. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and share the links for all 3 of these videos with you in the chat. And then finally, Sir Ken also works with an association called RSA, who create this animated clips. And this is and they animated a lecture that he gave called Changing Education Paradigms. And this is a very, very interesting clip. You guys can go through that, and it will be an eye-opener for, it was an eye-opener for us, and it will have whatever effect it will have on you guys. Okay, so another interesting thing that I want to show is this video by a child who gave and I think he was 11 then, who gave a TED talk about, the question that children get asked a lot is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And some of them just say, I want to grow up and I want to be happy and nothing else. Everything else that we hear children talking back, I want to be a pilot, I want to be an engineer, is something that we teach them. This is not the default answer that you get from a child. And I will just share this video with you and in the chat window, and you can, go through it. It is an interesting here. The next slide is about the book that I have, and this is a book by Sir Ken Robinson. It is an essential read by our standards. Anybody who wants to understand the kind of, but I would like to be very clear that the difference between what Sir Ken Robinson is sharing is he is talking about bringing the change in the existing education system, the schools, whereas we completely took the step away from schools. So we said we are, probably not capable, probably not willing to bring change in others. Why don't we just bring the change in us? Whatever we want to see change in the world, why don't we do it ourselves and see where it takes us? And then again, I want to talk about a few parenting lessons that we learned over a period of time. And this is something that we see a lot of parents doing, is encouraging their child by claiming that if you do this, you'll be a good person. And if you do that, you'll be a bad person. So we stay away from this. We call it the good-bad syndrome. And we do not encourage or discourage a child by claiming that it makes them good or bad. We also take a lot of effort towards making sure that we do not praise the child. We praise her actions. So if she does a painting, we praise the painting, that it's a fantastic painting. We don't say that you are a great painter. And we have our reasons for that. And then again, we do not use the reward and punishment system to get a child to do something, so that, you do this, I'll give you this, you get your chocolate or mobile or whatever. And if you do that, I'm going to punish you, you're going to get a slap. Or we have a strict no hitting policy with our children. And, this is what we follow. Another thing is something that we talked about, greed. We find that greed is at the center of everything bad that is happening in the whole world. And we take very good care to teach our children about how greed works. and we use very old cartoons to explain greed, and it is very easy to explain because there's a good guy and there's a bad guy, and the bad guy is doing what he's doing because he's greedy. And why is he greedy? Because he's not happy with what he has, he wants more, and the good guy stops him. And that the good guy bad guy thing doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is that people get greedy because they are not happy with what they have and they want more, and we should learn to be happy with what we have. Another question that we get asked a lot is how much screen time is okay for us, and with the amount of media that we have, how much screen time is okay for the child. And we get asked that how do you restrict your child's screen time, and our answer is that we do not restrict the child time. What we do is we distract them with some or the other activity. Like if a child is watching a TV, we just sit in front of the child and start playing puzzles, or play cards, or do some activity that distracts the child from the TV, and that brings the child away from the screen, rather than using the idea of, hey, you need to stop watching the TV now. We give them the idea of, hey, there's something other interesting to do, why don't we go ahead and do that. Then again, there was this survey which was done. I do not prescribe by this survey, but this is just for your information that you can watch it. It is okay. It is a survey that was done. I'm sorry, I don't have the link for this survey. Probably I couldn't find it, where there was a survey done between schooled, homeschooled, and unschooled children, and the survey resulted in showing that homeschooled children do better than unschooled children, do better than school children. And we, since we don't believe in competition and comparing and whatnot, but it is an interesting listen. If you guys are interested in listening to it, you could probably just do a Google search of survey to see are homeschooled children smarter. This was the idea behind it. I'm sorry, maybe later I can share the link if I can find it. And then again, the question arises that what kind of homeschooled child is Arohi? Is she unschooled or homeschooled? So she's a bit of both. We have never forced her into doing anything. We don't guide her. We don't direct her. We only facilitate what she finds interest in. But there are aspects of her life where if she finds something interesting, at times we do take a systematic approach, but we have never ever taken an academic approach. In the meantime, we recently moved, when Arohi was 3, we had moved because of a project that I got to Dubai, and we connected with Duneha, which was a fantastic homeschooling community present in Dubai. And we really had a great time with them for the next 3 years before Arohi took part in so many activities. They were fantastic, cosmopolitan children and parents and families from all over the world whom she got to interact with, both Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Americans, Europeans, Australians, Filipinos, all kinds of people. And we really had a great time there. So I wanted to share that with you. And then again, the one of the things that I wanted to share is that I have a love for reading, and I really wanted to share that with Arohi. But we do not use books for getting information. The only thing we use books for is for getting stories which are adventurous, fantastical, science fiction, which open up the mind and show you worlds that you would not see around you. And those are the kinds of, the thing that is take away for us from the books is the fantastical elements and not information. Arohi has not even learned ABCD or to read or write from a book. Then again, I have a love for painting, as I have worked as an artist for a long time. This is a personal hobby that I have, and I shared that with my child. And it really, cognitive growth wise, painting has been a very big part of Arohi's upbringing. And again, Arohi was at one point in time interested in learning ballet, and we realized quickly the moment she started doing that for her physical growth and physical training, dancing was one of the best exercises, and it also brings music appreciation because you dance to music. And in this whole process, earlier in my life, I used to take part in theater. While all this was going on, it also gave me the opportunity to go back to my theater roots. And this is also something that I wanted to inspire Arohi to do. So we believe in leading by example. So I started taking part in theater again, so that Arohi might, maybe not get interested in doing that at some point of her time. And then again, we got pregnant for a second time, and we had a second child in 2017. This time I was in Dubai, my wife was in India, and this was one of the most because of the separation. And again, we ended up taking the same decision that we are not going to both work and we are going to be at home with our child. So this brought us back to India, and because you can't survive without income in a place like Dubai, and we created something called the Homeschoolers Co-op with the homeschoolers present in Pune, which was an activity-based gathering. And we did that. The first one we did that in the basement of a coffee shop, which led to us getting invited to a place called Unschool in Pune, which is a 4-story building. Very generously, the owner shared the place with us, and we did tons and tons of activity there. Starting from, and we, the focus of our activities was child-led, parent-driven, and everything was based on what the children wanted to do, and parent drove those activities that they had. So this was a strictly child-parent environment. And we did indoor activities which were contributed by the parents. We did outdoor activities like trekking, camping, traveling, a lot of outdoor stuff. We did theater. This was something that came as a blessing for me, because there were a lot of parents who were interested in teaching their children theater. We continued with the co-ops that we had started initially. With increased interest, we got more and more footfall, more and more families joined. And we also did outdoor campings where we used to stay overnight in places. We used to build tents and campfires and whatnot. And we traveled a lot. We traveled all over India and Dubai. We went to Kaziranga. We went to Uttarakhand. We went to Anjarle for the turtle hatching. We went to Pondicherry for Auroville visit. And these were all activities that we did.
Sorry to interrupt. You got 4 minutes to go, Abhijit. You can just quickly continue. Continue.
Sure. I'll just finish my presentation.
Yeah, please.
So I was talking about all the activities that we did, as part of the, homeschooling activities. And this essentially brought us to a next phase in our life where we got interested in doing farming and growing our own food. And we took part in something called community supported agriculture, a CSA. And this step led us to the place where we are today. This connection with the soil, with the plants, with the flora and fauna brought us to where we are today. We took our first step towards sustainable living, and we moved away from the city and into a farm. And God knows that we did it just in time. We moved here in January, and just in time before the pandemic hit, and everything just closed. And we were in a safe place because we could grow our own food. We didn't have to depend on others, and we could continue our healthy lifestyle here. And along with this, we also learned the entire process of farming, right from sowing to seed treatment, to soil treatment, to caring for the plants, and harvesting and post processing. Everything we learned on this farm. And along with farming, we also started creating a learning space for the children of a nearby orphanage and the nearby village, who come to us in these times where they have no access to schooling and learning the conventional way. So now they are taking advantage of the way that we share knowledge and skills with our children. Okay, so this is where we are today, and this is what we hope to do in the near future. That brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. My name is Abhijit Roy. My phone number and email address is shared on the screen, and you can contact me anytime. And that's it. I thank you so much for joining us in this presentation. It has been an honor and a pleasure. I hand it over to Sagarika ji now.
How do I?
Thank you so much.
Ji, thank you very much. And that was really a wonderful insight into your kind of upbringing and your kind of philosophy of bringing up your children. Very difficult for a normal man to really think about it, but it was wonderful. Your share was really wonderful. And now we move to Lakshmi Prakash from Cambridge Public School, Bangalore, who is the educator's voice. And that is the educator's voice. So Lakshmi Prakash, can we have you? There was a question that was asked to a number of educators, and Lakshmi Prakash has been one such educator who has been chosen to speak. And we begin now. Lakshmi Prakash, are you there? Lakshmi, instead of 10 minutes, I would like you to wind up in 5 minutes, please, because of time constraint, because we've got question answers also for Abhijit to reply to the audience questions. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Agree. Yeah, sure. So I would rather, no issues. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yeah, you are audible.
Am I audible? Okay, so let's begin. I would like to start, my I would like to start my discussion by one of the quotes from Nicholas Spark. It was like, "What is it like to be a parent? It is one of the hardest things that you will ever do, but in exchange, it teaches you the meaning of unconditional love." We parents are going through a ever-changing landscape of parenting challenges. The worry quotient is increasing as the days pass by. Parenting is a voyage, and we are the key navigators, and there is no right or wrong in the modern day parenting.
Can't hear.
Parenting has become more like a survival game where every moment needs to be measured in a constant effort to specify quality time with our children. Yes, like you, I will definitely agree with saying parenting. Hello, am I audible? Hello, hello,
Sorry.
Yes,
You're audible.
hello,
You're audible.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Please
hello.
continue. Please continue.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please
Yeah,
continue.
please
Please
continue.
Thank
continue.
you.
We are able to hear you.
Yeah, parenting has, yeah, yeah, somebody said that they can't hear me, so I just wanted to check. Thank you for giving a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, yes. Thank you. So yes, I'm a parent of a 17-year-old child, and I do agree that parenting has undergone a paradigm shift in the way we look at our roles as parents. It is turning the spotlight, like to call this parenting as willful parenting. Now, what is exactly is to connect with their children emotionally and treat them as any regular human being. Now, as I finish that, there is no effective blueprint, as every parent-child relationship is unique and has a distinct quality in it. And nevertheless, parent involvement plays a significant role and leaves an impact on the child during his or her growing up years. Now, parenting does not end when a child grows up or enters into childhood. It is a long term process with a lifetime commitment that a parent takes up to promote a child's social, emotional, physical, and intellectual well being from infancy to adulthood. Parents often try to compensate for having a small quantity of time by scheduling a quality time. I would say that instead of worrying about how many minutes you can spend with your children every day, let us focus on turning those moments into memorable moments. The truth is that that quality time may occur when you least expected it. Let's understand the power of being present for our children, to notice, acknowledge their tiny achievements, their sources of happiness, their kindness, and the honesty in tough situations. Let's inculcate the desired life skills in our children to make them emotionally strong individuals. The first 10 years of the childhood experiences contribute a lot to the emotional well being of a child, and emotional wellness of children has gained a lot of prominence in the recent days. We are, as Abhijit sir said, we are all trapped in a socially prescribed perfection standards. Let us not intervene every time they make mistakes and gauge them on certain parameters. Let's allow them to make mistakes and learn from them. A child's self worth is determined by the level of expectations we create in their minds. A willing parent is always ready to encourage the child towards better standards and not by driving them towards perfection. Let us share the stories of overcoming challenges that will help them to realize that it's okay to make mistakes. Let our kids situations by communicating with us. Parenting is a process. It's just not the children who grow up in this process. We also grow up in this process of parenting. As much as we want to see what our children would do with their life, they are also watching us, what we do with us. Let us strive to be their role models by exhibiting those desired behaviors, by setting those ethical standards, what we wish to see in our children. With this, I believe we will be able to witness our children take decisions in our absence based on the life skills and virtues imbibed by us. And I believe there we become very successful parent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for
Ma'am,
that wonderful piece.
thank you so much.
Now, coming
Oh,
back to
thank
the
you.
question and answer session, our audience, they have been asking questions to our speaker. So we will have this right now, the questions. Uh, so
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
continue with the question
Sure, ma'am.
answers.
Thank
Can
you.
we have the questions, please? Yes, so Abhijit, if you could unmute yourself, yeah.
So
Around 10 minutes to answer all of these questions. Okay, the first question
okay.
is, how can we make parenting education compulsory in India, according to you?
See, according to me, the question is a little tricky because forcing somebody into doing something as a parent would be against our philosophy. You want to bring change. You want to see change in the world. You have to be willing to change yourself. The change has to come from within. So making it compulsory, I mean, I don't know how that. It's a little tricky question for me.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to get up and sign a petition, by all means, please do.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. Well, the second question is, how can one still promote social skills and interrelatedness through homeschooling?
See, this is a question we face a lot, and the answer is very simple. People are worried about the children not being social. The worry ends where the children copy you. If you want them to be social, you should be social. If you are social, your children will automatically become social. You can't force them to be social by hiding in the house. You can't hide in the house all day in front of your mobile and tell your children, go out, be social. So if you want your children to develop social skills, interactiveness, everything that you feel homeschooling child doesn't get, please be more social, go out more, enjoy life more, meet people. It's a great time, and you will have a great time, your children will have a great time. So just do that.
Wonderful. Okay, next. Has homeschooling come to a stay? How can it complement regular conventional schooling?
See, the main difference that I've seen in our case, we didn't homeschool ROE because we were not okay with the conventional schooling. We homeschooled ROE because we wanted to spend time with her. That is the only reason. The homeschooling, more and more people, what I see is that people are getting frustrated with the education system because of the amount of pressure put on children for achieving. And this is not just by the organization, this is by the parents themselves. So if you want to reduce the pressure on the children, please, by all means, do not force them into doing things. My experience is that if children do things that they love doing on their own, they allow them to do that and they will flourish. Okay, so homeschooling is here if people realize that they should not become dictators of the children. Okay, and it can complement regular conventional schooling as a co-curricular activity at this point of time, because that is what we are doing for the kids of the orphanage and the village. They do go to regular schools, they just come to us for skill development. We don't do any academics, we only do activities. So the complementary part would be that do your academics in school, do your activities as part of a organic learning space like the one that we create.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. What kind of kids do not do well in homeschooling?
Tricky question again. It's not the kids. You want to ask what kind of parents do not do well homeschooling.
Lovely.
The kids are fantastic. Kids are happy wherever they are, as long as they are not forced to do anything.
True. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you think homeschooling will help in developing social skills that children learn in a classroom setting?
See, the fear here is that unless we put kids in a room with 40 other kids, they are not going to make friends. This is such a big myth, because the difference that we have seen in our children is that since our children don't get automatic friends, they have developed a habit of hunting for friends. So they actually, when Ari wakes up and comes out of her room, she's immediately starts searching, where is this friend, where is that friend, where she hunts them out, she brings them out of their houses, and she so she is actually more social than the kids who go to school, because she is not handed a recipe of friends that she should abide by. So you don't just, you are in 7th standard, all the kids in 7th standard in your class are your friends and nobody else can be your friend. So ROE's friends range from a 2-month baby to a 80-year-old person. So social skills is something that children, I mean, at least our children, and I can only speak from our own experience, that our children never had to worry about, I mean, we never had to worry about their social skills. And since we are so outgoing, our children immediately picked up. They are never shy of meeting people, talking to them, saying a hi to somebody who smiles at you. And, I think that's pretty much all the social skills that a child needs, according to us.
Wonderful. Abhijit,
You can see my screen now, yeah? So what I talked about farming, so, we got connected to a CSA near Pune, and we got connected to soil and flora and fauna, and we did farming. We started farming there. But this, of course, took us to a need for doing more. And we moved to this farm to build a self-sustainable lifestyle for us. And moving away from city was, the thing that it happened in last January, and just in time before the pandemic. So we were able to, stay contained and safe and healthy, and grow our own food and sustain ourselves in this time, in these troubling times. And in this farm, we are learning how to farm, how to grow our own food, right from soil treatment, seed treatment, sowing, taking care of the plants as they grow, harvesting, post-processing of the food to make it edible. All the entire process of farming we learned on this farm in the last 6 months. And we also started creating a learning space for the kids of the orphanage and the nearby village, who in these times, as they don't have access to school, they come to us for learning their skill development, and just having a good time with us while they are learning the skills that Snehal and I share because of our vast experience in the field of media and entertainment. And that was the conclusion of my presentation.
super,
Did I get
super.
everything through?
For staying back with us. And this is Dr. Sagarika Roy Bhatia signing off from this webinar, and hope to see you on the other webinars by this particular institution, Future School Leaders.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I have shared my phone number and email address in the chat window for anybody who's interested to connect with us. And because I've got a lot of requests about my phone number and email, so I've shared it in the chat window.
yeah, so maybe you could copy it down. The audience
Yeah,
could copy it down.
I've shared it in the chat window.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much, one and all.
Okay,
and looking forward to seeing you all in a number of webinars that will take place till the 30th of August. And
all the
we'll
very
be
best.
meeting soon. Yes. Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.